we here now?
Man, we are here.
Okay.
Listen, sticks and stones may break our bones, but the words will never hurt loose cannons or Dave Chappelle, because this is the Dave Chappelle episode.
Yes.
Woo! Man, this was a good one.
Yo, this was pretty good.
Let's break it off. Let's kick it off.
Okay.
I'm No Justin, No Peace.
And I'm Lou Rivers.
And we are the Loose Cannons Podcast, because every week we sit down and we fire off our opinions on today's pop culture, politics, and movies and how they all intersect. And today's movie was Dave Chappelle's most recent special.
Yes.
Sticks and Stones.
Yes. Woo. Oh.
Didn't know what the title was going to be about.
Yeah, no, me neither.
What did you think when you first heard it?
When I heard, I think I had an opportunity to go to this show and I missed it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I've seen Dave live 3 times.
Get out of here.
Yeah, man. I've seen him before the fame of the Chappelle show.
Uh-huh.
I've seen him during the Chappelle show, and I've seen him when he came back from Africa.
Killing Me Softly was before the okay.
Killing Me Softly, and what's the other one? Jesus,
I was on to Dave Chappelle's stand-up late. I actually got onto his stand-up after the Dave Chappelle show.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I had seen him obviously in Half Baked.
Yeah,
thought he was very funny. I don't even know if I was listening to that much stand-up at that time.
I mean, did you see him on Def Jam?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
He was, I think, on the last season or the season before.
So I definitely seen him on Def Jam.
He was really young then too.
I think my only real stand-up experience was really watching Raw, obviously Delirious, and Bill Cosby himself.
Yes,
I used to have that on rotation.
Yeah, those are my top. Those are 3 of my top 5. I want to say
they're amazing.
I know that both of Eddie's are my top 5.
They're amazing. What else you got in there? Rock? You got some Rock?
So Bigger and Blacker. Yeah, I honestly, and the crazy part is I saw Rock last year also. So the one that he did on Netflix, I went and saw him live for that.
Yeah, that was good.
And he's that one was closer to Bigger and Blacker than I thought it was gonna be. And the two or 3 Daves that he did for Netflix before, he did 2, and this was the 3rd one for Dave Chappelle.
This is the 3rd one.
Yeah. So this one.
Because there was Equanimity,
like that.
And something else.
Yeah.
And then this is the 3rd one.
This one was probably easily the funniest.
It is the funniest.
And it's way closer to Killing Me Softly and, gosh, I can't even remember his third one. But
I love Killing Me Softly. It's hilarious.
But his first 2 are easily in my top 10. Killing Me Softly is definitely in my top 5. And once I remember the other one, I'll let you know. But this first thing I thought was like, all right, I'm getting some of that old Dave back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super edgy Dave.
Edgy, I think, is an understatement.
This was definitely edgier than the first 2 on Netflix. Definitely edgier. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And I watched it with my wife, and she was thoroughly enjoying it. Okay. Which is very important, because we have different comedy feeling. Like there's certain things that we line up with, like watching Grownish or Blackish. We line up with that. But there's a lot of comedy stuff that she may like that I hate, like a lot of Tyler Perry movies and plays, other stuff, like a lot of stuff that just hit her and is hilarious to her. Like Girls Trip. She enjoyed Girls Trip thoroughly. Yeah. I'm like, this is trash. Yeah. Trash. Trash for me. But then it's like moments like this, it's like, man, okay, so we both line up on this edginess. Right. Like we're both seeing the funny in this.
Right. I think it's the ability to break down the walls of like, oh, we can't quite go there. Yeah. That he definitely has the ability to do.
He definitely goes there.
Yeah. I think I told you before, I mean, if anybody
the alphabet people.
No, but the YouTube video where it says Dave Chappelle dodging lasers. Beams or
I didn't watch it yet.
So check it out. But it pretty much explains how he does everything that comedians are not supposed to do, and he gets away with it. And watching this, that's all I can think about. I was just like, yo, he gonna talk about that?
Yeah.
Oh, he gonna talk about that?
Yes, he will.
It's like, hold on, let me stick my hair
Yes,
in
he
my
will.
cap and just wait for it.
But it was fun, and that's the thing. It's fun to watch him talk about it. It's fun to watch him do this verbal gymnastics of like taking real serious things and making you laugh.
Right.
Making you laugh. And that's the thing. It's like, I guess we have to get away from the idea of that we're laughing about the thing,
Right.
as much as he's making something funny out of it,
Right.
and just finding that one nugget that's funny. The whole situation may not be funny at all.
Right.
So it's like he does a great job. Is he in your top 5 comedians?
Is he in my top 5? Yeah, I think he's it's him and Eddie, I think.
It's got to be him and Eddie.
Especially as far as stand-ups, he's easily
Movie funny. Eddie takes the cake because he just has more movies and had more time to be funny and more star roles just to kill movies.
He's had more ability, and obviously in the 80s and 90s he has more marketability.
Yeah.
So
Beverly Hills Cop is one of my favorite
are
movies.
you ready for Beverly Hills Cop 4?
If it's good.
Scratch that. Are you ready for Eddie to host SNL in December?
That would be crazy.
That's gonna happen. He's already on the schedule.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
20,
serious.
24, 25 years, they said. Wow. He hasn't been.
Just that monologue is going to be ridiculous. And if they put that clip on YouTube, it's just going to sail.
Yeah. It's going to be, obviously, it's going to, in the last 10 or 15 years, it'll be
They're going to market an episode of SNL. Think about that. He'd probably be on night shows before he goes on SNL.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
God.
Eddie's amazing.
Yeah.
Can we just like he's a pioneer to the point where like people are still doing what Eddie had done 20 years ago. Like they're still trying to get to that place. Him and Martin.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You're so crazy.
We can't say, the one thing Martin has on Eddie is like TV show, a great TV show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. No,
but Dave Chappelle got the TV show.
Yeah. I mean,
great stand-ups.
I think, like, thinking about it, Dave is probably hands down, because I would give Chappelle show, I would do 25 years of Chappelle show before I do 25 years of SNL skits with Eddie. And I mean, not taking anything away from Eddie, but I do that in a heartbeat.
Yes.
And like I said, the ability to, I think people don't realize how much comedy brings people together. Because the whole thing is that even if you're talking about issues that are so tough to talk about, like race, everybody's on one side. Like, you're on a side, regardless of what it is. And that's the funny part. It's just like, and even from his point of view, like his ability is his background. Because, you know, being like, oh, I'm from D.C., where I spend a large portion of my life, but I'm also from Ohio, where I'm from the farms, I went to a white school, or I did this. You kind of got the perspective from both sides, and you can make a joke funny for everybody.
Yes.
And I think that people don't realize how important that is, you know? Because we've gone to see comics, and you've gone with friends, and half of you are laughing, and half of you are...
Never been to a comedy show.
All right, man, you'll cut this up.
I've never been to a comedy show.
Cut this
it's wild, right? Never been to a comedy show.
Okay.
Never been to a comedy club.
All right, I got you next week.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
I used to go.
Improv Boston, is it good?
Improv Boston is good. It's Improv Boston is more of a sketch thing. Okay. But like I've been to stand-ups. I did everything.
Slades, is that really where people go to watch comedy? That's too wild.
Not for me.
Gotcha. I gotta go to a comedy club.
Yeah, you ain't
never. It's wild, right?
Yo, yeah. I mean,
in New York is the place, obviously, to go.
Yo, I remember one of my best nights. Like, I went and I went to see one of my favorite comics, and who else was there? Jim Gaffigan walks in. He lives around the corner, working on material. I forgot her name, but someone else, famous actress, walks in. I was just like, this
Wow.
is New York. Like, and I think I got it like $5 from my ticket website that I use. And I was like,
This is, I won.
right. Like, I'm looking around like, you know what I did it again?
Yeah.
You know what I did?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But you gotta go. You gotta go. I mean, and then there's so many people that are just undiscovered. Like, that's the other thing. Like,
And funny.
yeah, you're getting stuff that you're just like, man, like,
Yeah.
if someone can see what I just saw,
Yeah.
like, that's amazing. And, you got people, I mean, especially people from here who are good. I mean, I listen to Joe Rogan a lot.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why I was upset that I didn't really go see any of his shows this year, is because Dave is touring with Joe Rogan.
Get out of here.
Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle headlining.
Stop it.
And Ashley Larry's opening for them and someone else. But basically, they're only doing like a couple tours. They go and then they go back home because he's got the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave doesn't like to do stuff he doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
So.
He just does whatever.
Right. So, and he was just saying that they weren't doing promotion the whole time. I can't even remember how I remembered. And they were just like, then they just open up the thing, put out the tickets. He's like, in an hour they're still selling out because people are following him that much.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, I'm missing out.
It's a really interesting art form. I mean, because we actually all experience it most of our life. You know what I mean? Like you watch when a child gets their first bit of laughter.
Right.
And it's joyful to watch children get their first bit of laughter. And people are like in many ways trying to get that out of you throughout life and different experiences. And then you get to see it at the highest level of people who actually take this thing serious. Like, there's not that many art forms that you're experiencing throughout most of your life, except for maybe music. Right. Music, you're hearing from young, you're hearing whether you're in the womb, when you come out the womb, your family and your friends, they're playing music around you. But like, laughter is one of those things. And everybody thinks they can do it because they've experienced it.
Yeah.
And they've actually made someone laugh at one point. But it's different to make a person laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh again. It's totally different.
Right.
It's totally different. It's one of those art forms that like I want to try because I feel like it would be so challenging.
Right.
It's like, to figure this out is pretty damn impressive, because you can scare people very easily. We're easily scared.
Right.
We're very scarable people. You can surprise people. You can make a person cry.
Right.
A lot of that has to do with sound and music. But to make them laugh, there's no real like laughing music. There's no music that makes you laugh or puts you in the mood of laughter. Right. You literally have to do something or say something to get a person to do it.
I think that people miss out on the true nature that, you know me, like I overanalyze things. So it's a true lull of like when you're writing, all right, you got a story and you're trying to make sure that it flows. I think that people don't realize like that's exactly what a whole set of jokes is, because you have your joke, and you know that, all right, I got a joke, and now I got to put a couple jokes together to make a bit, and then I got to get a couple bits together to make a set, So usually, when you're first going up on stage and you're doing, all right, I got 3 minutes. People don't realize how long 3 minutes is.
Very long time.
Let alone get to 5 minutes.
Yes.
Let alone get to 10 minutes. Let alone get to a half an hour. Let alone get through an hour.
Yes.
So the amount of jokes you need to put together a bunch of bits,
Crazy.
to put together a bunch of sets.
Yes.
This is why, I don't know if you remember when Trevor Noah first did his special, and comics were like getting on him. Because they were just like, how are you doing an hour-long set headlining in your first 3 years of comedy? How could you even do something like that? Because you haven't even been around long enough to
to develop it.
And it's just like, and I mean, I saw that and I was like, all right, this guy's
good.
Yeah, instant. I seen him live too.
Yeah.
So, but It's just the ability to know that science. That like, all right, I got
The sad thing is like we're out of just clear merit, and I think that's what a lot of comedians are fighting. Is like, you know, they felt like the merit of me being able to grind and get to a certain place will garner the attention, and that attention will turn to me as a super successful comedian. And that's not the case anymore.
Right.
You can literally just have a buzz and then go into comedy
right.
and be one of the biggest comedians. We're watching it on Instagram and YouTube. These people, they were literally just grinding, doing small little videos, less than a minute for 2-3 years, and they're huge on Instagram. And then they're next thing you know, they're doing a stand-up tour.
Right.
Who knows if it's funny?
Exactly.
But their audiences, their fan base,
Right.
they're not pulling in the comedy fan necessarily. They're not going to get a Netflix special.
Right.
That's something very different. They're not going to get an HBO special or a Showtime special. That's something very different. That's still preserved mostly for the people who have been grinding in this world.
No, on a side note, do you have a favorite social media comic?
I've been watching a lot of Cornell lately.
Okay.
I do like Cornell a lot. I like his videos. I just like how he puts it together.
No, I told you the last one I went to was that Kev on Stage, Tony Baker, and
How was that?
it was all right.
I listened to his podcast. I just like
Kev.
Kev on Stage, period.
I think he's good. I like it, but I'm a huge fan of Tony Baker, and I didn't realize that it was him until I went and saw him. I was just like, "Oh, that's who you are!
Got
you
you.
hilarious!"
I listened. I watch Gerard Houston now. He's the dude that does stuff in like Walmart. He did this thing with he was asking people about if this bed bugs product will work. He was like, I'm trying to get the bed bugs out of my clothes and my sheets. And then he tries to give them a hug after, and then it's about the reaction. I like those type of people who create that environment.
Nah, man,
the reaction stuff.
I am all set.
It's wild. It's wild. It's wild. Of course, Shiggy is cool.
Yeah.
Shiggy's cool, but
Oh, Doughboy was at that.
Doughboy is
show
good.
also.
Doughboy is cool. I've been watching Doughboy for a little bit now.
Yeah.
But I like that the fact that Instagram and all these things open the door wider.
Right.
It opens the door wider, but
Made
with
it
the
a
door
garage
being
door.
wider, everybody's trying to come in through that angle.
Yeah. And for me, I have to separate people. Like, there's people I can just take on social media, I've realized. And then there's people who are like, okay, I could go watch some stand up. And then there's people who have been around forever and been in the industry. And I'm like, ooh, I hope that this person gets their due, because now I'm like starting to go back and follow somebody or see what they've done. Or just like, if you think about someone like Deion Cole, who's been around forever.
Yeah.
But he's literally been a writer for how many years?
Yeah,
Or writing
a lot of
for
different shows.
Especially, I think that the amazement is when someone's writing for a comedian. I think people underestimate like that concept. You know what I mean? So, but I love Deion Cole. So I think like he's someone who's. My list is very short of people who I want to go see, because I feel like I've seen everybody who I've wanted to see.
Have you seen the Wayans?
No, I haven't, but they're on my list.
Yeah.
Marlon more so.
Yeah,
If Damon ever comes back, I would go see Damon.
obviously.
But I haven't seen Jamie, and Jamie has one of my favorite comedies of all time, I Need Security.
Very good.
And then Deion Cole, I love the fact that he does the whole writers thing. So like his big thing for a bunch of years, I don't know if he still does it now, is like, oh, I'm gonna work on some jokes, and he pulls out his notepad and he's writing, and he tells a joke and he goes, okay. So I like that, like, because he wrote for late night shows, he for Conan O'Brien for a bunch of years. And now I'm almost certain he writes for Blackish, and he writes for Grownish. So it's just like having that, being in the industry 20 20, 30 years type. I like that too. So I don't know, man. It's something that you have to appreciate. You know? And then, like I said, and then there's comedians who I could take on the screen, and there's some who I really can't.
Everybody's not built for it.
Right.
On Grownish, what's his name? DC Youngfly. Good. He's good on Grownish.
Right.
A lot of people do Crossover, just hilarious. She was all right on Rel. Just all right.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Sometimes seeing people only in a minute burst is actually a lot better because you can get away with doing silly stuff in 30 seconds, a minute. But once you have to sustain 22 minutes, 30 minutes, it requires a different type of beats. It requires a different type of
different type of pace.
Yes.
And I mean, like, I'm not a huge fan of Just Hilarious, but I always saw why people saw her funny. But then there's some people who can't do written well. And there's people who can do improv very well.
Yes.
So I kind of took that as like, oh, short skit, you'll be funny. In a minute, I can take 2 or 3 things that are pretty funny and laugh until the next joke.
Yes.
You know, even though you're telling about 5 to 10 jokes.
Yes.
So.
Because being on TV is really acting.
Right.
Like, you don't even have to be a comedian to be able to really deliver jokes.
Delivery, yeah.
To write the jokes, yes. Yeah. But to deliver them, no, because there's truth to them. Because, like, you know, as much as, like, we love Martin and we love, like, I think people took it too far where they thought, like, oh, you know, Martin's characters are extra. But they always felt real in that moment. But when we watch a lot of people who seem like they're babies of Martin, they're trying to imitate and they're just too extra. Right. And it becomes buffooning.
Yeah.
But back to Dave.
Sorry,
back to Dave.
y'all.
This is great. Sticks and Stones, very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Had a great time.
And he was trying to... If anybody wanted to be offended, this was the one.
This was the one.
Yeah.
This was the one. But it doesn't hurt him.
Right.
Because a lot of people are going to be like, what should I be offended about? Let me go check it out.
Right.
It's so good. Is it balanced? Sure it is. He's talking about a lot of things, a lot of people. He's leaving a lot of messages in there too. He's leaving a lot of thought pattern messages. I get it. I love this the Louis C.K. take. Yeah. It's like people do wrong things.
Right.
And what Louis C.K. did was, I don't know, as wrong as more as it is creepy.
Right.
And he did something super creepy. Yeah. And people can feel violated about that, and they have every right.
Right.
But should his livelihood be gone?
Right.
Especially if you weren't the one who was supporting his livelihood?
It's such a fine line.
Yes.
Because, I mean, I feel like... I thought we was the generation that grew up with tough skin. Like, and not taking anything away from should someone be violated, but... I mean, we did grow up with I mean, you're not supposed to put your hands on anyone.
Absolutely not.
Unless you're defending yourself.
Yes.
But, and then we also grew up in the phase where I feel, I don't want to say that kids nowadays are bullied more than we were. Because I kind of feel like it's across the board. It's one of those things that everyone has had it, and now we're finally able to dissect how and why. But I thought that we grew up in the era where it was just like, yo, you either going to take it or...
See, that's the thing. It's a weird thing because I feel like even with bullying, it was almost considered a natural course of action. Some people are going to take the place as the bully.
Right.
But you don't have to take the place as the victim.
Right.
And guess this is how you settle yourself with not being a victim. Is by defending yourself.
Right.
And I think that's the worst part about, like, that's where kids end up going and they end up harming themselves. Is because they feel like there is nothing they can do. They feel helpless. Right. And when you feel like you can do something about it, then you're empowered.
Right.
Then you don't want to hurt yourself. And then there's also perspective. It's like, you got teased at home. When you got teased at home, that was from people who loved you.
Right.
So you understand that some of those things are disconnected. Right. It had nothing to do with your value.
It didn't come from hate.
It was just teasing.
Right.
You know, so all of those things need to be put into certain boxes and certain perspectives. And I think we also grew up in an era where getting in the fight with the regular recourse was, all right, here goes the suspension. We'll talk about it. Don't fight again.
Right.
You know, and that's it. And that person can end up being your best friend later.
Right.
That's okay. But now we're moving, you know, if you say something to this person, you're expelled, expulsion, suspension, all those different things, and we're trying to destroy the little kid when they're all just little kids. The one that's getting teased is still a little kid, and the one who's doing the teasing is still a little kid. Right. So they both still need to be treated like children. But at the end of the day, there are things that we can do and adjust without just throwing people away.
I think a big part of it also is we don't put as strong a foundation of code of ethics and morals with kids nowadays. And I think that because we're so success based, where it's just like, oh, you can do anything you want to do, just put your mind to it, or take advantage of every opportunity, this, that, and the other. And then when you grow up, to me, this is what I eventually think. Your morals and ethics are weak. But your drive for success is strong. Yes. So this leads you to situations where and taking advantage of every opportunity that other people don't.
Opportunity may be people.
Leads you to a situation where this producer is asking me to come over now. And I need this success.
Take advantage of this opportunity.
Let me take advantage of this opportunity. Yep. When if you had strong code of ethics, be like, all right, but this is not how business gets done. No. So I'm not even going to do this because this doesn't even seem right. Yes. And I feel like that's where situations where you're just like, oh, I would have never did that, turns into, I kind of got to do this.
I kind of have to do it. That's it.
I mean, I get this opportunity. Yes. Again. And that kind of leads to a whole bunch of people getting themselves in situations where probably could have been avoided. You understand what I mean? Where it's not.
Our goal here is never to be happy. Our goal is to be millionaires. Right. And that's the sad part. Right. Because most people aren't going to reach that goal. We got to stop telling this lie. Some people are. And most people aren't supposed to reach that goal. Right. The hoarding of this amount of resources is not good for any society. Right. It just so happens that some people are going to reach so many people. Right. That's the reason why people like Dave Chappelle and Will Smith, all these, Brad Pitt, all of these people, is because of their network. They're reaching millions of people. But just imagine a person who's not reaching, not changing, not affecting millions of people, but is making millions of dollars. So it's like we live in that world where everybody's trying to become a millionaire, because that is just the foundation of our society of looking at, oh, okay, I'll be okay if I have be a millionaire. Right. That's all they think. I'll be okay. And it's the constant pursuit. Where does it end? Right. We should be constantly pursuing happiness. And happiness comes from experiences. It does not matter how much money you have until you're able to maybe turn that money into experiences for your family. Right. It was about you spending time with your family at the end of the day without worry. Right. And so we can craft a society where we remove the worry and we allow more time for experience. Right. It don't have to change monetization on anything.
Right, exactly.
But that's the world that we live in. And people like also, we have a society that people want to get people. Right. Like whoever was affected by Louis C.K., at the end of the day, even if they only wanted to speak out, other people wanted to get Louis C.K. Right. We got to get him. We have to punish him. As opposed to Louis C.K., you need to stop doing what you're doing, because obviously now you know you're making people uncomfortable. Right. And if you have a problem, maybe you should speak about it, with your counselor.
And I think that that's the reason why so many people see, like everyone's just like, oh, why are you trying to protect this person or this, that, and the other? It's just like, we're not trying to break people down. Yeah. And not everybody's malicious.
Not everybody's malicious.
Sometimes all you need to do is tell someone like, yo, you're a creep.
You're a creep, dog. I love you.
My biggest thing is, like, I understand that the maliciousness or that ability comes from people who want power and control. there are some people who don't want or need that
Yeah.
power control who are just creeps.
Yes.
Those are the people who are just like, yo, relax,
Chill.
calm down,
Chill out.
That's not normal.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much money you have and
Yep.
how many other people have been willing
Yes.
to. You need to find out who's willing before
Exactly.
you just throw
That's
this around.
it.
That's it.
That's
Cool.
it. And I think that's what Dave was getting at when he's bringing this up. Is like, you don't have to because the actuality, and that's what he brings up, is like, we haven't made society better.
Right.
Bill Cosby's in jail. Kevin Spacey was on trial. Weinstein is going to be on trial. Hopefully. Louis C.K., his career is destroyed. But we haven't made it safer for women.
Right.
Because the fact is, the people who are affecting women the most are not people you can destroy their $1 million careers.
Right.
We've got to change the culture of things. And Louis C.K. didn't make this culture.
Right.
He grew up in it.
Right.
So we're all technically a victim of this culture. We may never find out who the culprit, who originated all of this, but we all know that if you study anything, it all begins with some form of trauma to everybody.
Right.
And with that said, we should be actively working to decrease the trauma of people, not after they're affected, but prior to they're affected.
Right.
What is going on in Louis C.K. upbringing that he feels like this is something he wants to do? What is going on with anybody's upbringing that brings them to doing these type of connected harms to other individuals? And once we start studying that, then we can start changing things for people. We can start changing their experiences, and then we can make them better for our children. And so then the net effect is better. But him losing his endorsements or whatever, his deals, done nothing.
Right.
We're actually worse.
Just
Roe v. versus Wade is back on the table, ladies and gentlemen.
It's just that people always want to be like, oh, well, we can't, support this person, or we have to do whatever we can to. No, I think I told you this before. Like, having someone apologize at times is just difficult because it's forced.
Yes.
Like, you're going to take away everything I have. Let me go out here and do something. Or, the thing that should be done is like, all right, now I have to get in this movement so I can, one, be more aware.
Absolutely.
And now the platform that you're trying to take away, this is the platform I should use to spread this awareness.
That's it.
To other people.
Yes.
But then, like I said, this is just like while having something like Sticks and Stones where someone is actually talking about something that people don't want to talk about and makes it tough for people to hear. It's just like, all right, so we'll take the biggest topic that everybody took offense with, the whole Michael Jackson accusers thing.
Yes.
So the Michael Jackson's accusers were offended and destroyed.
But Macaulay Culkin wasn't.
Right.
That's interesting.
And for me, the crazy part is you didn't seem too offended. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. I mean, everything that you said, I was offended when it turned out to be wrong.
Yes.
When someone fact-checked.
Yes.
No one came and apologized to me. And
No
told me,
one.
oh, look, HBO changed the title, the description from Michael Jackson, these boys, this, that, and the other, to the alleged accusers.
They have to.
So that was wrong. What came
It was
out.
wrong.
Okay. Oprah stopped endorsing.
That's it.
Where was my apology?
No one.
When I was offended?
No one.
Of everything that you said, and
they lied to us.
And that's the point. It's just like, what does any of that do to help me or society?
Nothing.
At the end of the day, it's just like, all right, well, you're going to be upset of someone's opinion on something that actually proved to be wrong at the end of the day?
Because the problem is, if we make a boogeyman, we're going to feel as if we kill the boogeyman, it's all over.
Right.
That's not the case.
Right.
We're all a part of this boogeyman syndrome. Right. Listen, at the end of the day, women and men are just as guilty for what's happening to women right now. Right. And women don't want to hear it.
Right.
And men don't want to hear it. But we're both involved in this situation. Right. As people were talking about, hip hop music and the way, people in hip hop are disrespecting women. It's like that same language that's in the hip hop music, women are using with each other.
Right.
They're using it with each other. So at the end of the day, you are a part of the desensitization and the use of these horrific words of people who are you, who have the same parts as you. We all grew up in this same society. As much as black and brown people, as much as we want to feel free and liberated about all people of all colors, we've been indoctrinated about hatred towards ourselves. So have women been indoctrinated about hatred towards themselves. That's why women didn't want to vote for a woman president. Because other women are starting to believe, or have believed, that a woman can't control her emotions enough to run the country. That wasn't just men.
Right. And I think that's the tough part where, like we spoke about on the other episode, about the long-term abilities of dehumanizing other people, other cultures. And it doesn't have to just do with race. It has to do with gender. The idea of discrimination is the ability to get someone to discriminate and to continue to discriminate.
Yes.
And to think that it is normal.
Yes.
You know, and it's not like, oh well, I'm not doing anything because this is what society.
This is normal.
This is normal.
This is truth.
Right, and that's the ability. It's just like, all right, well, at the end of the day, if someone doesn't talk about it or address it and actually make you confront that idea that you have been given and have lived with as much as you've lived with your eyeballs and your eye sockets. Yeah. Like, at some point, you're going to have to be like, all right, well, maybe that is wrong. Like,
maybe it's wrong.
And, I mean, I think that that's exactly what Dave does because I'm going to make you question it. Like, I'm going to talk about it.
That's it.
I'm going to make you question it. And I'm going to question your offensiveness. Are you offended because of what I said or because I'm making you confront it?
Yes.
You understand what I mean?
Yes.
So, I mean, I love the fact that he talks about, the LGBT community. And the fact is that, like, because I make a joke about something and I'm not part of it and you're offended because I said something about it, there was no hate or malice in what I said.
No.
And that, I think that's where people are just like, oh, well, you can't have an opinion.
I understand why, though. As much as there really aren't as many people who are on the side of like, oh, Dave, you're wrong. It just, the echo just seems louder because of social media. And we're just going to move on into the topics because that's part of the topic is what's happening is we live in a society in which people who were really trying to be offensive, they said something offensive, and they use, oh, I was just making a joke, as a getaway free card. You know, and people do that in your real life. They'll say something like, oh, I was just joking with you. Like, and they're not honest with, like, no, you meant to hurt somebody. You meant to do that. So, and I think we've all experienced that so much where it's like, we can't trust those words of you being a comedian anymore because some of you are out there are really just trying to jab and hurt people. And we've experienced that in our life where people say, oh, I was just joking with you to get away with it, to somehow lessen the blow. But it doesn't lessen the blow. So now that moved over into real comedians who literally are just trying to be individuals who are taking tough topics and making humor out of it and actually really just entertaining people. And now they're taking it because other people are like, I don't know who to trust is actually just joking anymore. So now I'm just feeling like nobody's really joking. You just wanted to talk about people negatively. Because if we didn't live in a society that had so much vitriol for the LGBT community, Dave wouldn't have a problem. Because everybody was like, no, like, being gay is whatever. It's whatever. No one has a problem. No, everybody's baking cakes for you. You understand what I'm saying? But no, but because it's all compounded, then Dave is just really a guy who's doing a literal exercise, a literary exercise using the media of comedy to just talk about things he's observing. And now it stings more because I've been knocked down over the past 30, 40 years. Like, we've had some crazy laws in our society.
The crazy part is the thing that I like that Dave does, and I think that like if you analyze it now, it makes sense because he makes sure that he talks about every single one of these instances, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but in the middle of almost every single set, he talks about himself and how he has to deal with something, or if he sees something a different perspective, if he was in that situation. So the first time he talks about someone being trapped in a body that is not their own, and he
Yes.
understands it. And then he goes, "Well,
Talks about his wife.
right? If he felt that he was an Asian man inside of
Yes.
his black body,
Yes.
how would people feel?
Yes.
If he did this, that, and the other."
Yes.
And the whole thing is the one reason why he could take that path is his wife is Asian.
Yes.
And it makes sense because well, he's not going to hate himself
Yes.
for this, but then it makes sense to the context of the joke previous. So now you can't be like, he's just taking this one side.
Yes.
And then he goes off and he talks about, I can't remember what the exact joke was afterwards, but then he tells the story of going to the censorship network and speaking about why he can't say faggot, but
Yes.
he can say nigger.
The way he said, "Fuck."
Yeah. And I mean, but that is basically when he says the word faggot.
Yes.
I think that this is the exact context. Like when he says the word faggot,
Yes.
people hear it that loud.
Yes.
It's when you're not on
Yes.
something,
Yes.
people hear it at that level.
That sounds more
Right.
aggressive.
So you're just like, oh my gosh, how
Yes.
could you say that?
Yes.
That's how the radar goes up.
Yes, it does.
So then when she goes, whoa, you're not gay.
Yes.
So all gay people are faggots.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, but you're just telling me that me just being black means I'm a nigger.
That's the weird implication.
Right.
That's
So
the
that
weird
means that I can
implication.
say it because you would see me as a nigger.
Yes.
And I was just like,
Or-
the science of his jokes are
Yes.
that amazing. Where
Yes.
It's just like, if you break it down, it's the one reason why you're just like, oh, that enlightened moment when you're just like, oh,
Yes.
he's actually teaching right here.
Yes.
You know? So I think that people, obviously, when you're so offended by a joke, you're kind of missing everything else that comes after it. But when people go back and they see it, they're just like, oh, he's actually making all this.
But the
sense in
perfect point about that is that the industry that censors and allows things are fine with the word nigga, but they aren't fine with the word faggot because the industry as a whole has a large population of gay men.
Right.
Gay men. Not gay women, gay men, because faggot is really connected to gay men. That wouldn't affect the lesbian.
masculinity
Exactly.
right.
It wouldn't affect the lesbian at all. So it's an assault on masculinity, which they don't want it to be. Who would want an assault on their masculinity?
Right.
But the industry is protecting the individuals who are in large majority. Not a large majority, but have a space in the industry, a larger space,
To make a bigger impact.
bigger impact than people who would be considered niggas
Right.
in the industry. Which is brilliant. Yeah. It's a brilliant joke. It's a brilliant joke because it's like, basically he's just saying, hey, there's a lot of gay white men over here, but there's not a lot of black people in control. So the gay white men are saying we can't use these words, but they don't care about the word nigga.
Right.
So the truth is they don't care about, it's not that they care about offending people.
Right.
They only care about offending certain people, and that's particularly their community.
So does this go back to our other conversation where sometimes you have to make business decisions regardless of whatever you feel is right ethically or morally because they could bring down your business or support it. You understand what I mean? So using the word nigger on TV could help or hurt. You don't really know, but using the word faggot is definitely a negative.
Definitely.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So then the decision has to be, well, let's just not use that word.
Yeah.
The other word, if it's positive or negative, we could put spin on it.
Well, because I mean, a nigga has a edginess to it.
Yeah.
It's using a lot of hip hop. It seems urban.
Right.
It's urban. It's the thing is, it's like at the end of the day, it's all about the context because the problem is if a person doesn't want to be called out of their name, you shouldn't be calling the person out of their name. It's not like faggot is used like as much to like really like, hey, you know, it's in the music that we write for each other. Right. So it's like, it's not there.
Degrading in every context.
It's degrading in every context. And even when it was used in pop culture, it's used in a degrading way. Right. So I get it. But still.
I understand that whole context that you said about like, if you don't want to be called out your name. I mean, so the one thing that about our other topic about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and when I go back to Martin's speeches, the one thing that I do more than most is I always like the context of taking power out of words. Mm-hmm. So when reading his speech on the use of certain words, I didn't take it as people can't use it or people can't do this or people this or that. It's just that when people say something to you, I don't acknowledge it because I'm not going to give it power.
I'm not going to give it power. Right? Yes.
So, I mean, like, if someone uses it, and even if they're referring to me, it's my ability to either take ownership of that word or not. And that I feel like that's where I'm empowered. Yeah. And not the word itself. And I think that people have generally missed that idea where they're just like, we should strike it from the vocabulary. That's never going to happen. No, you can't take a word out of the context. Like, people will always use it. That's something that people will have to understand, that it will always be used. It doesn't matter who's using it or how they're using it. Yep. Even if they're just using it in their head. Yes. But are you going to continue to take ownership of that?
Because, I mean, these words were used to assault people and to make them feel less than. To make you feel less than, because they can't make you less than. Right. So the fact is, if you start to internalize the words, then what their intention is taking hold. Right. And if you start to react to the words, their intention is still taking hold. Right. They're pulling you out of character. Because at the end of the day, someone calls me a nigga, which is supposed to be an ignorant person. I don't know where that definition actually came from, because that's a little janky of a definition. It's way more degrading, used in a way more degrading way than an ignorant person. Because like, if a person calls me an ignorant, like it just about what? Like so it's at the end of the day, people aren't actually using these words. Like when they're it's because they already feel assaulted. Right. You understand what I'm saying? They already feel the insignificance. So they are attempting to bring down your significance by using this terminology. Right. White supremacy isn't really about people feeling superior. It's about people wanting to feel superior more than anything. So by giving you a dehumanizing name, I'm lifting myself up. Right. I'm boosting my own ego. Right. Because at the end of the day, within that need to feel superior, you already have an inferiority complex. Right. That is the issue with this whole situation, is you already feel some type of way. Right. And so when you take that into account, you can't give credence to these words in changing the way you behave. Right. You could strike them down by, using the system. If you're at work and your boss calls you a nigga, don't start yelling and screaming and wilding out and giving them what they want. Right. Take that shit to HR. Right. Professionally.
I'm going to be here next week.
I'm going to be here next week. Right.
The nigga's
going to be here next week.
The nigga with a job will be.
You, sir, will not. Yeah. And that's it. And that's how. Right. That is the proper way to move through these channels. That's the proper way. And it's like, we live in a world where there's censorship that is going on. Mm-hmm. Censorship on YouTube, censorship on all kinds of platforms. A lot of people are against it. I'm for a lot of forms of censorship because I understand how people can hide within the shadows of this freedom of expression.
The troll world.
Where what they really want is freedom of destruction.
Do you feel like it's a knee-jerk reaction? Or I feel like has to be on a case by case basis, and I feel like we're getting closer to the level where it can be.
This is what I'm saying. It wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. I feel like all of the companies have been trying to be as open as possible.
Right.
But there's recent things that have happened that we realize that the openness is dangerous.
Right.
The full openness without recourse, without even a disclaimer. Like, at least a disclaimer. At least we cannot say that this is factual and this company is not a fact-based company.
Right.
At least that. Because at least when CNN or the New York Times gets something wrong, they are supposed to be, there's a standard that at least applies to them. Mm-hmm. Companies on YouTube, there's no standard for them to go by.
Right.
So they can just lie about everything. They can sway you about everything. Mm-hmm. So with that said, it's like the companies are reacting. But they have to react because we're realizing that with this last election, social media was used intensely.
Right.
And the freedom of social media with its huge openness and the way these algorithms work. Because the fact is, we're not getting just what gets uploaded from what we follow.
Right.
The algorithms are sending the stuff that they think we already like. Mm-hmm. Not the things that we are, not the topic, but the things that we may like about the topic. So if it's negative about Hillary, they're not just sending stuff about Hillary. You're going to get more of the negative and more of the negative.
Did you watch that Netflix original documentary?
With the Great Hack?
Yeah.
I have not watched it yet. It explains all that.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But it explains all that.
And the funny thing is, I feel like, as much as I didn't even watch it and I know a decent amount about the topic, there's people who don't even understand
right, exactly.
why because I was looking at this 2016 election. I'm looking at the 2016 election and I remember the moment everything went negative about Hillary. Everything. And I remember the echo chamber that was happening in the people of color community. Everything that was negative was negative about how she feels about people of color. And it was so negative. And then everybody was internalizing. They were like, we're off the Hillary train. We're getting on the Bernie train. But no one brought them back over to say, guys, hello, you're going to have to make a tough decision.
Right.
You can't just sit home. You're not going to get anybody perfect. You're going to have to make a tough decision. And guess what? This is still the better decision for where you were standing and how you felt things needed to go. But people couldn't internalize that. And it's like, where did this information come from? Where did all these things come from? It was sent to us. There were specific communities that were attacked with this disinformation. And they use these tools and these open platforms for people just to spread stuff because the open platforms are there to make money. And if people were paying for ads and paying for this and paying for that, it was just open to happen. Right. So the thing that is supposed to be our freedom of expression and freedom of getting information has to be regulated because it's dangerous, because other people are expecting to disseminate bad information. Right. So censorship has to happen, but not in the form of shutting people down. Censorship has to happen in the form of, listen, these are particular platforms and these other platforms, I don't know, maybe a rating. Right. Maybe a rating. Maybe, listen, they seem to be lying a lot. they get a 2 rating. Right. You know, they lie a little bit. They get a 4. Right. Nobody got a 5. Something has to happen. Because when you get these articles, not everybody scrolls down to the bottom to read like, oh, it's an opinion piece.
Right. It's not. But that's the tough thing also is that not everybody's reading, and not everybody's reading. Not everybody's reading the whole thing. The ones who are reading,
you read the headline.
Yeah. So that's
you read the headline. It wasn't just clickbait because some of them they didn't want you to click. Right. They just want that headline to roll. Hillary, pizza, and Pizzagate, and children.
Ooh, yo, Pizzagate. Anyways,
wow.
But on a let's try to have this on a good note. Mm-hmm. What did you Sticks and Stones
Sticks and Stones. Listen, we got to put it up against comedy, and I go back and watch Raw, go back and watch Delirious, and I've watched Sticks and Stones twice now, and I want to watch it 3-4 more times. The shit is a 4.75.
Ooh, okay.
It's a strong. It's amazing stand up.
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing stand up, and for us to see like it's so close together with two other ones, you realize like, damn, this is it, Dave.
I have to debate if it. I don't think it cracks my top 5 because I'm just thinking that I definitely have Raw and Delirious in my top 5.
Yep.
I definitely have Killing Them Softly, and I think the other one is called For What It's Worth. I think that's what it's called. So I definitely have those 4 in my top 5.
Got you.
And then I honestly have to debate between You So Crazy, Bigger and Blacker, Himself, and I Might Need Security. Those are like my other 4.
Bill Cosby himself is my top.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Have you just listened to it?
Yeah.
I mean, like, not even watched it. Listen to it. Yeah, there it is. There it is, people. It works just listening to it as a comedy album. I love Bill Cosby.
Well, you got to think that back in the days, especially the 70s, early 80s, a lot of these comedies were just on record.
Yes, they
like people just couldn't.
And there was no
watch
specials like that.
VHS.
Yeah.
But yeah, but Himself is definitely one of my favorites.
I love it.
But I Might Need Securities up there.
It's really good.
The last one that got into my top 10 is Trevor Noah's African American. Yeah, that was the last one to get in. So I think that I may have Dave in their top 10 with those other 8 I just said. I think that was 8. Yeah.
Wow. What did you give it? You didn't even give it your number.
I think I'm with you. 4.7.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good, guys. Yeah. Listen, you have to go watch it. It took us totally off our questions and
already into
topics
the
explore.
topics.
We were in the topics because I mean it's a comedy, so it wasn't really something that you could really talk about the shot list and I mean it looked great. Dave is just a fantastic performer.
Amazing writer of comedy.
Amazing
of comedy. You know, people go check it out. Go listen to it. If you are a fan of the old Dave, this is more along those lines. If you've listened to any of or watched any of the comedies from since he's returned from Africa and until now, this is easily the best one.
Definitely.
Easily.
Definitely the best one.
Go check it out.
Please go check it out. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Listen.
Right.
If you guys have gone this far, you might as well just join the fam.
Right. Get on the bus.
Get on the bus. Get on the loose cannons train.
Yes. All right.
I'm No Justin No Peace.
And I'm Lou Rivers.
And we are the Loose Cannons Podcast because every week we're firing off our opinions on today's pop culture, politics, and movies and how it all intersects. Yes. We had a great week. Yes. Dave Chappelle. Great social media breakdown. Power season 2 season 6 episode 2. Woo. Y'all got to listen to this whole week.
Yeah.
If you didn't listen to these other episodes, go right now. Right after this, right after my voice. We out. Peace.
Peace.